Welcome to Behind the BNB podcast, where we go beyond the bookings and take you inside the real stories, strategies, and struggles behind every Airbnb success. I'm your host, Steph Murphy, and each week we will sit down with real hosts, industry experts, and inspiring guests to uncover what really goes on behind the scenes of short-term rentals. Whether you're just getting started, scaling your property portfolio, or simply love a good story, you'll find practical tips, honest conversations, and a few laughs along the way. So grab a cup of coffee, settle in, and let's go behind the BNB. Hi, and welcome to another episode of Behind the BNB. I'm your host, Steph Murphy, and on this show, we talk to real hosts with real stories, and I'm so excited to have Sebastian on the show today. Welcome, Sebastian.
Hello, Stephanie. Thanks for having me on here today.
It's so good to have you on. So, Sebastian, you are the co-founder of Dream Rentals.
Yep.
And you are based out of Chicago.
Yep.
And how are we doing for time over there? It's evening time for you.
It's almost 9 o'clock, so catching me right before bed.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, well, it's 10 a.m. here in Perth, and I'm so just glad that you were able to jump on, even though it's a little bit late over there. So let's talk about Dream Rentals. How did it start? How did this partnership, first of all, with your business partner, Josh, kind of start or form? And give us a little bit of your background.
I got you. So Josh and I go way back to junior high school. We've always competed in sports. He was a wrestler. I was a swimmer. When we graduated high school, we went to the same college, University of Illinois down in Champaign, where we actually ended up being roommates for the next 4 years.
Oh, wow.
Before we graduated. And kind of went our separate ways, did our own careers at the time. I worked at Cutco for 10 years, hit Hall of Fame, $10 million in sales. And then during that time, Josh and I were making money at our regular job, so we decided to start a business together. We've always wanted to get into real estate. We've loved hosting events, and we love the hospitality industry. So once we heard about Airbnb more and more becoming really popular, we decided to become partners and then grow this thing together.
And this was 2019?
This was 2019. So I saved up 6 figures on my other job. I didn't know what to do with it. And so we came across a property that we really liked, but we were pretty nervous on pulling the trigger on in terms of a purchase. So we convinced the owner to let us arbitrage the property until he sold it. Of course, a month later, he ended up getting an offer for the property. And the first month that we had it live, we actually got like $15,000 in bookings. So we decided to keep the property. We ended up buying it. And then the next couple months, we rolled into getting a couple more. COVID hit. I didn't really believe that COVID was a real thing until nobody was traveling and the world shut down. So we kind of pushed through that year. We had a couple long-term tenants. We actually got kicked out of one of our units because one of the guests that we had a party, and it was a pretty massive one, and the neighbors got scared, so they kicked us out of that unit, which was
this was during COVID. This is during COVID.
Yep, this is during COVID. Yeah. And the couple long-term tenants that we had saved us in terms of like going bankrupt because we owed about $20,000 a month that year in rents and mortgages, and nothing was coming in.
Oh my gosh.
So luckily we found those long-term tenants and we pushed through. And then for that year, we stuck around those 4 units or 3 units. And then we networked our way through meeting clients and meeting developers, and we got into another building that we got 6 units in that building. And then after that, we had about 1 more, so about 10 total for about
the next.
So this
is 2021 now, you're up to 10.
Yeah, about 2020, 2021. And couldn't really figure out how to scale. We were pretty much stuck at that point.
Yeah.
And then once we joined the program back in 2023, I ended up leaving my corporate job because what I was making passively here was taking care of all of my expenses at the time.
Amazing.
So I felt comfortable jumping ship. And then that year we went from 10 units to 35. And then this year we're closing in on 70 units now. So that's a quick little journey.
For me, I'm still stuck on the first year. So you went from 10 to 35.
Yep.
And then the following year, well, like you just said, by the end of July, you'll be at 70.
Yep.
Okay. So people watching this are just going to be like, whoa, 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 just hold on a minute. So, okay, how did you do that? Especially having come out of COVID, you were then able to replace your income, leave your full-time job. And was that when you were still at 10 properties? So they started to go really well after COVID?
So after COVID, those 10 properties were doing very well. We paid off all the like furniture cost and we're making money at that point. The first couple months, first 6 months, we were like breaking even / making our money back with the money that we invested. So after COVID, we finally started saving money again through this. And then our revenue at the time was, I think, like 600,000. So Josh and I were making, pretty good passive income. I want to say like 5K a month. And that gave me the confidence to jump ship and move on from my previous job.
Yeah. And so what do you think what was the change? Like, did you change systems or anything like that before you jumped on the coaching? Because it was mainly you and Josh running everything, right?
Yeah, we had one of our buddies, frat brothers, Brogan. He actually helped us do a lot of the customer messaging. But it was just us three for 4 years.
Wow.
So our chokehold at the time was Josh having a full-time job. His busy season was like the opposite of mine. So in the summers, I was super busy. Josh wasn't. And then during his busy season, I wasn't as busy. So we kind of flip-flopped while Brogan did all the messaging. And we were stuck. We didn't really know how to hire a VA or getting more help or cleaners or having all these systems in place. So once I joined the program, I not only learned how to pitch landlords the right way, like fine-tuning that, having actual benchmarks to go after, meeting with these realtors or landlords in person versus just calling or emailing. Creating more of a brand was another thing. So we were just another Airbnb company, but then forming the Dream Rentals and really sticking to our brand helped.
Yeah.
And then James and all the other coaches have been really helpful in terms of fine-tuning every system, whether it's security, whether it's background checks, whether it's security deposits, just the little things that you don't learn online that, frankly, you can get away when you have 10 properties. But once you scale past that and you're in a city like Chicago where people want to party and don't respect your places, like learning those different systems and checks and balances to make sure that not only it's a win for you as the business owner, but a win for the landlord, a win for the neighbors, a win for the neighborhood. We used to run the Airbnbs very shush. And then when neighbors found out, we would apologize. Now we're very proactive and we let people know before we start that this is what we're doing and this is why we're different. This is how we'll make sure that the neighborhood is actually going to be safe with this and not create problems. So definitely fine-tuning a lot.
Yeah. Sounds like, that was a lot of work involved. So coming into the program 2023 and learning everything that you did, was it a matter of, okay, this is a system, we've learned about this, you implemented it pretty much straight away with the guys as well, with Josh, and the other guy that was working for you, is he still a part of the business now?
His regular job ended up picking up quite a bit, got a couple raises. So we transitioned one of our other friends, Allison at the time, to kind of be the temporary fill. And then Josh's fiance ended up starting with us, and then my girlfriend's on the team now. So they're like overseeing the customer service side that we mostly have in the Philippines.
Okay.
And they're doing more of like the project-based things nowadays.
Yeah. Okay, great. So it's, I guess, looking at it today, there's quite a few staff and team. And so how many staff have you actually got on board now?
Yeah, so we have 7 virtual assistants. So pretty much 24/7 customer service. We have a VA that's strictly in terms of organization, systems, SOPs,
Yeah.
P&Ls. Like that's all he does. We have, the night shifters that watch cameras, security. We have security guard on deck if we need to call that person.
Yeah. Yeah. You
Um,
need that.
my mom's like our head of design, so she's
Oh,
loved to
wow.
do
Mum's
interior design.
involved. Oh, I
Yeah.
love that.
My younger brother is like the project manager now, so he's
Yeah.
like overseeing the projects, the
Oh,
maintenance
it's
team,
become
which
a
has been
whole
pretty cool.
family affair, family business.
Yeah. It's been really cool. Yeah, my dad helps out quite a bit.
What's
We
he
have two.
doing?
He's his background is in construction and
Okay.
windows and pretty much anything handyman related he can do.
Oh, that's so handy.
And then we have two other handymen, and then we also started a cleaning company that we have, I want to say
Of course you did.
25
Yep.
cleaners
So you've
now.
got the cleaning company too. Wow. Is that cleaning
Yep.
and linen, or it's more so like the housekeeping?
Yeah, it's the full service, so linen,
Amazing.
deep cleanings after every single guest, etc. Yep.
That's great. Okay, you didn't tell me about the cleaning company before. So when did you start the cleaning company?
2 years ago,
Yeah.
when I jumped ship from my previous job at Cutco,
Yeah.
I we were growing so quick, but the
Mm.
funds weren't coming in yet because we were in slow season.
Mm-hmm.
So my previous boss at Cutco saw our financials. He was retired at the time, and he saw that we were spending X amount in cleaning every single year, and saw that, hey, if we're spending that, why don't we just start that internally, build that out, and then eventually we can have multiple businesses within the business that's vertically integrated. So he ended up investing some cash in our business.
Oh, wow.
He's a part owner of it, a really
Mm-hmm.
small percentage, but he owns most of the cleaning side that
Okay.
we're frankly the biggest clients, but we've been able to grow that with our properties and just like the brand that we have in the area now.
Yeah, amazing. So this investor, he was your previous boss.
Yep.
So he's sold the business. What was the business? What did they specialize in? Because you said it's
So
Cutco?
Cutco, Cutco. So it is
Okay.
a direct sales company.
Yeah.
What we sold, or what they still sell, are basically a lot of things for the home, kitchen, garden, mainly kitchen knives.
Mm-hmm.
So they're made in America, forever guaranteed. So if anything breaks or if you ever need it sharpened, you get a new one for free forever.
Mm-hmm.
So that was like the start of my not only sales career, but also my management career.
Mm.
Really taught me everything I know about business. And then this kind of like plugged and played with that, which has been pretty sweet too.
That's cool. And I mean, if it's a home, kitchen, garden, I mean, it kind of relates to what
Yeah.
you're doing in property anyway. So are you getting a massive discount, like any of the product? Or
I
how does
used
that
to for
work?
sure. Yeah. My brother
Yeah.
still works there, so he hooks me up a little bit here and there,
Oh,
but
nice.
uh, definitely have Cutco in all of our properties, 100%.
Yeah. Wow, that's pretty handy to have. And then especially have, I guess he's the founder, or was he the CEO, your previous boss of that
He
company?
was a division manager, so he ran all of Chicago.
Right.
So it's basically broken down within territories. The company's been around since 1949, so definitely been here for a while. So when you start as a
Wow.
sales rep, you can move up into management and then run your own office and then branch out from there.
Yeah. So yeah, I love that you said, your sales and management skills, it was obviously developed over time through working at this
Yep.
company. And now, yeah, you're able to, build your own business based off the skills that you gain from having worked there for how long?
10 years
10 years. Yeah, wow.
since I was a college kid.
Wow. So it was pretty much straight out of college that you
It
landed a
was
job.
freshman year winter break I started out.
Yeah. And how did that come about? You just applied online, you saw it come up, or?
Funny story. So I actually was in a fraternity and I couldn't afford the dues for the frat. And my buddy ended up spotting me some money for it. I didn't want to tell
Mm.
my mom at the time because she wanted me to go to school and get good grades.
Yeah.
So he spotted me over winter, right before winter break. They were recruiting on campus. I ended up applying for the job, and then winter break came around. I worked for 2 weeks, made about $1,500. So I went back to school with some cash, paid him off, paid him back, and then the rest is pretty much history after that.
Yeah. And so I don't fully grasp the concept of fraternities and sororities. So like can you in short like explain why you wanted to be in one in the first place? Because you were saying your mum just wanted you to go and study and get good grades. What's the difference between just going, studying, getting good grades versus doing that, but also being a part of a fraternity?
Yeah, I guess every school is different in America. Some schools are very heavy on the Greek life, meaning that if you're not a part of it, you can still have a social life, but it's not as robust. So that was
Mm.
one thing. The second was the network. A lot of
Mm.
these people in fraternities have like generational family members that have also been in the fraternity. So like the community and the network that you can gain from that is massive.
Mm.
Uh, but what it's like publicized as in America is definitely the socialization and the partying and the et cetera, et cetera. So,
To
as a
draw in the
4.0,
young people, but meanwhile it's growing a network.
yeah, I mean, a lot of like your Ivy League schools, they'll strictly have like business fraternities and then they'll have like your
Yeah.
social ones, which most
Hmm.
schools do, but U of I is more like the Greek side and the more of the socialized. There is that business side too, but definitely the network and the relationship that you build within like 3 months because you're pledging together, you're doing hard things together. The community just becomes a lot tighter at that point. And
Mm.
for me, like community is really important, and having that through every stage of my life has been pretty vital, I would say.
Yeah, it's so important. And I guess, yeah, the opportunity obviously came out of being a part of that fraternity for you to
Yep.
land the job that you did. 10 years later, come out, start your own Airbnb business and now just driving that forward. So,
Yep.
just before we hit record, you were just telling me you're going to fly out tomorrow. And yeah, what are you flying out for? You can tell everyone.
So luckily Chicago's only 60 degrees right now, so it's kind of a plus because I was kind of sad that we're leaving for Memorial Day, but we're
Mhm.
flying out to
Fahrenheit,
Cabo.
by the way, for those watching who are like, what? 60? It's Fahrenheit.
60 degrees Fahrenheit. Yep.
Yeah.
So we're flying out to Cabo, Mexico tomorrow. We just locked into arbitrage properties there.
Nice.
So my mom's been wanting a vacation. I was like, Mom, let's go. Let's design the properties, get some work done, and also at least check out the properties in person because we haven't seen them in person. It's been through one of the guys in the community actually lives in Mexico, and he helped us source the Cabo property. So he's been like the middleman
Yeah,
slash
shout
in
out to
negotiations.
what's his name again?
Philip.
Philip. Yeah, Philip. Shout out to you,
So
Philip, and I'm gonna get you on the show next. But anyway, carry on.
yep. So he's been a massive help. Him and his wife have looked at properties for us, negotiated. We went through a couple different ones that we were about to pull the trigger on, but the owner wasn't as it wasn't like a team. It didn't feel like a team. It felt like
Yeah.
very transactional. Like here's a property. These are the only things that can happen at the property. Anything past that is not allowed. So there's a
Mm.
lot of like we just didn't feel right about the deals. And then we met this new partner, Mario. He actually had the property managed by somebody else that he wasn't really vibing with anymore. So he was just like, hey, if you guys want to rent it, Airbnb it, you can do whatever you want with it.
Yeah.
He's too busy with his other projects in California. He's a developer. And he liked us so much that he ended up buying another property in Cabo for us to arbitrage for him as
Oh
well.
wow.
So we have two properties we'll be getting set up this week. So that's exciting.
So this is Mario who how did you meet him again?
So Philip has his wife is a realtor in Cabo,
Okay.
so she's been like networking. She's been putting the word out that we have this business model that would be attractive to an investor. and also pitching that we also will manage the property for them if they would rather go that route. It just depends on what the client is more comfortable with.
Wow. So you've got
Yeah.
Philip's wife basically pitching on your behalf to
Yep.
continue to build your business. Are you paying her any kind of commission, referral fees?
Yep.
Yeah, yeah.
Yep.
You got to have all that set up. That's
You
great.
gotta. It's definitely
Yeah.
definitely expensive with these massive houses, but as long as it's a team effort, obviously we're 6 hours away. So having
Mhm.
somebody that lives close by that can check on the properties, that can be your boots on the ground,
Yeah.
that you can trust is the most important, especially if you're branching out outside of your city, because they are your eyes and ears at the
Yeah.
property. If you don't have that, you're going to be in a lot of trouble, and it's just going to be very stressful for not only you, but the neighbors, the neighborhood, etc.
Yeah. Exactly. So
Yeah.
this is the first time you're actually branching out now as well, isn't it?
No, we are in Chicago, Houston, Minneapolis, and Scottsdale,
That's right.
but the first one out of the States, or first two out of the States.
First two out of the States. Okay.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I'd love to, obviously, when it's all fitted out, once Mum's done worked her magic, I'd love to get some photos and we can actually throw them up for people to see.
Oh, yeah.
Um, yeah. So Cabo is actually a 6-hour flight, did you say?
Yeah, I mean, if we go direct, 4 hours, but booking it yesterday, it's
Right.
the only thing available was a connecting flight. So
And so how long will the setup take? So you're going for what, a week, 2 weeks, or?
yeah, it's we're only going to be there for a week because it's already fully furnished.
Mm-hmm.
They were both already Airbnbs, so it's pretty much done.
Mm,
It's just not designed as well as we'd like it to be. So we're gonna do a couple small touch ups, maybe swap out a couple beds, put like a hot tub sauna on one of the properties. Small
nice.
like cosmetic things just to pop a little bit more
Mm.
for the eye appeal.
Mm-hmm. Make it stand out more. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. So Cabo, the properties there, you're gonna obviously after you update them, you'll have your photos done. And
Yep.
then where are you listing them?
Yeah, we'll list the properties on any website that Mexico allows. So for sure, Airbnb, Verbo, Booking.com, the three main ones, will obviously have it on our website. We are thinking about probably going to move forward with like our own Instagram page for each property, just because they are 5,000 square 10,000 square foot houses, so they're pretty big, pretty unique. So we do want to
Massive.
market like the
Yeah.
whole experience, whether it's the private chef, whether it's the limo pickup, whether it's the yacht services. We want to be able to market the whole package
Brilliant. Because
there.
Airbnb's just come out with this whole experiences thing, right? Just
Yep.
recently. Yeah.
Which has
So
been
adding that.
cool.
Yeah.
And we want to also have that people can see directly, because as you know, on Airbnb you can't put videos, you could only have pictures. So like having that kind of content really helping it stand out is important.
Yeah.
We'll probably list it on like Expedia, Wimstay, Hopper, all your other small sites too,
Mm-hmm.
Agoda, whatever the case may be. But
Maximum
definitely want
exposure.
to be
Yeah.
definitely want to be on any platform that has good customer service and a good guest screening
Mm.
process, because you need to make sure that you have the right guest at your
Especially for
properties.
these mansion type homes. Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly.
Definitely need that screening process in place. So you deter anyone thinking they're going to have a massive party on these properties. So, what are some of the ways for people wondering how you actually go through the process of screening guests? I mean, you just said that you're looking for the platforms that do that already. So for anyone who has no clue how that works, can you explain just what that looks like?
Yeah, so I'll just start with Airbnb because that's the simplest. But
Yeah.
most of our properties we actually don't have on Instant Book. And the reason for it is the neighborhood or the building that we're in is a little bit stricter. But when someone inquires the book, we'll always ask them questions like, hey, what are you in town for? What's the intention of this trip? how old are the guests that are staying? Where are you guys all from? Do you have anybody stopping by the property, or is it just the people that you listed? Um, so like some basic questions like that. Once they answer them, if we feel like we need to screen them, like a 2.0 version, we'll outline all of our rules right there and make sure that they understand that we have a zero tolerance policy for partying. We have secure deposits. We have people do background checks, credit checks, soft credit checks, of course. But once they agree to those, then we use a software called AutoHost. AutoHost, you guys might have heard of Superhog, but very similar. AutoHost is a platform where someone will do a selfie, match their ID, and then the AI will actually pull up all their data from where that person's, not all their data, but like the important data of where that person's like logging in with their phone. If their ID says Illinois, but they're actually logging in from Florida, if they say they're from Wisconsin, but they're actually from Indiana, like it'll flag all these different things. So that way we know that the person booking is the person staying, and the person's credit card that's getting charged is the person that's booking, because nowadays a lot of people are using other people's credit card or doing some kind of fraud. So we want to make sure that everything is aligned, we're capturing the payments, etc.
Yeah, it's so important. And whilst we're speaking of the importance of ensuring that ID is verified and the right processes are, adhered to by the guest, you've actually had, or it was years ago now, a challenge with a particular guest, right? So it's almost like from lessons learned in the past, what not to do. And this is what you definitely have to do to ensure that you're not going to end up with some crazy guests coming in and damaging and causing issues for you. Do you want to share that story from back in the day?
I have a couple, but I'll
share one or two.
One of the worst nightmares. I'll share two during COVID. COVID taught us a lot because people weren't traveling, so the people that were traveling were locals that were throwing parties. So we had a lady at the property we ended up purchasing. She claimed it was her daughter's 3rd birthday, and usually if it's like a 3-year-old birthday or like a funeral, for some reason in Chicago, it's always a party. But so we accepted her, and about 1 or 2, Josh and I fell asleep. She ended up calling us at 3 a.m. once towards my number, once towards Josh's number. We didn't answer. We were sleeping. I wake up to like multiple calls from my neighbor. She called me and she said, "Hey, what's going on? Your fire alarm's been going off for the last several hours. Like, are you okay?" I said, "Oh, I went to work early. I'll be right there in 20 minutes. So I come to the property, open up the door, and the ceiling is just, there's a waterfall coming from the ceiling.
Oh my God.
And she left the toilet running overnight. She couldn't figure out how to close it or turn it off. So she let the toilet overflow and flooded the whole property.
What?
So that was one of the worst. The second one, it was 420 in America. It's a weed smoking holiday, essentially. And
I can't believe there's such a thing, but anyway.
Yeah, so we had the penthouse in a 4-unit building, and the way we would have guests come in or check in is through the back and then up through the 4-unit building. And we didn't have any cameras, we didn't have any noise monitors, we didn't have any smoking detectors, we didn't really screen the guests. We were just desperate for anybody to book, right? So get a call at like 3, 4 o'clock in the morning from multiple neighbors saying there's a massive party. We ended up going to the property, and there was weed smoke everywhere. There was probably 30 to 40 people in a 3-4 bedroom, like penthouse type of unit.
Oh,
place was packed. Alcohol everywhere, weed everywhere, smoking everywhere. The neighbors ended up getting so mad that they kicked us out of the building, which blessing in disguise if you think about it now. But yeah, that was probably the second worst that's happened then.
Wow.
I would say one more. I'll kind of put these all together.
Yeah.
Last year or 2 years ago, when we went from 10 units to 35, same thing. We're growing so fast that these systems that we had weren't up to the speed of our growth.
Yeah.
So we were accepting guests. We didn't screen some well enough. We had in the winter when prices drop, you usually get worse type of guests. So we were kind of desperate for bookings. And all these people, same thing. They would either throw big parties, smoke weed in the property, just create disturbance for the neighborhood. And that really taught us how to tighten things up even more for
Yeah.
that to never happen again.
Yeah. So as you were scaling rapidly, there were some properties that have had all this, the screening process, cameras, security, noise alarms, all the rest of it, but you couldn't get it across the entire portfolio because things were just happening at such a rapid pace.
Yeah, or I was like, oh, that property doesn't need cameras, or we don't need noise monitors. It's okay. Like,
Yeah.
no,
You
it's
thought it
not
would be
okay.
okay. You thought it'd be all right because maybe what, the area that it was in, or?
So in the area, like whenever, I don't know if you guys see this in your other markets, but whenever we drop prices, it's like, I don't know if these people are looking for deals. More locals are obviously looking for a place to stay or hang out. So, and the goal is to break even in the winter months, make a little bit of money. So we don't want to just have a zero booking month. So we were a little bit more lenient on the rules and accepting people are believing their reasons why they're coming into town, but had too
Lessons
many
learned.
heartbreaks.
Yeah.
Yeah, too many heartbreaks.
Yeah. It's like you just cannot trust. You just don't know who you're going to get, really. So it's just like, no, just use the same process for everyone. Everyone has to go through it.
Exactly.
Even the guest who, because sometimes there's guests with reviews, or do they rate the guests as well? Like there's ways to see like where this guest has stayed before, and then obviously the host also gives a review about the guest. And you don't always have time to check that, so it's just easier to make sure you just have everyone go through your process of
Exactly.
verification. Yeah.
Or if like there's a guest that just made their Airbnb profile, or it's been around
Mm.
for 10 years, but the last review was 5 years, it's like there's a reason these things are happening, right?
Exactly. Exactly. You're an expert now. You, Josh, and the team, that's for sure.
Yep.
So, was it Mario that you've got relationship with? Is he the one with the portfolio
So
of
Philip is the
properties?
guy, the sourcer
Oh yeah,
that is in the community. He
yeah.
met Mario through just like networking and meeting with, he met Mario through their realtor network
Mm-hmm.
in Cabo that they've been building for the last couple years, that they've spread the word that we're looking to expand there. And
Mm-hmm.
then the realtor has a good relationship with Mario. I've been working with him for a couple of years now, and
Yeah.
she
So
she pitched.
Mario's based out in Cabo. Shout out to Mario, by the way. He's based out.
Mario is in California,
Okay.
but he has properties in Cabo. His
Okay.
brother actually is the pioneer of the farm to table restaurants in Cabo.
Oh. Oh wow.
So he like created this concept where you would have a farm and then immediately gets cooked and you get the dinner. So he created that concept out of
Mm.
Cabo. He is
Mm.
actually building a massive wellness boutique hotel right now out of Cabo where it's going to be farm to table
Oh
as
wow.
well, and like a
Okay.
massive wellness retreat space for like saunas, hot tubs, cold plunges, you name it.
Nice.
Um, so that connection's been sweet. It's like I'm excited to meet his brother this week, grab dinner at his restaurants, and just get more familiar with the community out there. It's gonna be exciting.
Yeah. So it's a plan to, yeah, I guess expand the portfolio over there as well.
Yeah, I think what's been coolest about this journey is like the network of people that you meet that own these properties or build these properties or have these visions already in place, and just meeting those people and being like another puzzle piece to your future has been pretty epic for sure.
Yeah. It's incredible, isn't it? Like you said,
Yep.
you love being part of community, and there's so much that comes from being in a community, depending who's in that, um, for better or for worse. But either way, like, everything happens for a reason. The people you meet along the way, part of your
Yep.
journey, it all just shapes you and is part of, yeah, like your success today and what you guys are doing, which is incredible. And one of the things I was really interested in having you share a bit more about was acquiring assets, because a lot of the time, like, we want to encourage, our students in our community and to, while it's great to build an Airbnb portfolio with rental arbitrage, the ultimate goal should be to acquire assets at some point as well, you know? So can you share, like, just based on your experience of rental arbitrage, but I mean, you did purchase property before, and just that journey of looking at your property portfolio and having, you know, sort of your eggs spread across different baskets. Can you share, what you kind of told me about how your unique way, or you and Josh, is it something you guys do together, but
Yep.
your unique way of acquiring assets?
Totally. So the arbitrage has been really great to start the brand and conviction and the proof that we know what we're doing at this point. And, 5 years in the business now, 6 years in the business. This year we'll do $7 or $8 million in revenue. Like, that's been cool to show people.
Yeah.
And then for those in America, there's a cost segregation study that they're reinstating now in America where they were getting it down from 100% a couple years ago to 80% to 60%. This year was going to be 40% in terms of a bonus depreciation structure. Oops. This year they're bringing it back to 100%. So the reason I'm bringing that up is the cash flow from the arbitrage is great. And if it wasn't for that, definitely wouldn't be where we're at today. But after you're making this cash flow, let's say you have another job, active income, you're getting taxed 30, 40, 50% sometimes on the money you're making from your active income job. So if you can buy an asset where you can write off 100% depreciation over the next 5 years to offset those taxes, like, that's a big win. So every year the goal has been to buy one property to not only take that cash flow into an asset, but also to get some tax write-offs with the ownership model in Chicago. Now, so that we've done that every year, we buy about one property. Well, Josh and I, we'll have my mom or my brother invest, have like a quarter percentage of each. But last year, since we grew from 10 units to 35, we were catching up on a lot of payments and a lot of things that were just, obviously, with that growth, you're leveraging yourself a lot.
Yeah.
So this year, Josh and I were just like, all right, let's focus on buying 5 properties this year. It might not be by ourselves. We might get other investors, but we've grown. We've dumped everything back in the business over and over and over. I was like, all right, I kind of want to relax a little bit, but start having these assets for long-term wealth. So once we made that like our point and what we wanted to focus on, there was one of the owners in the buildings that we have a property with. He's seen how much we've hustled over the last couple years. We've grown his revenue in that building pretty much double from $100K to $200,000 a year. And he's seen that we like to hustle, work hard. So he offered us to buy equity into the property and a couple others. And the trade-off would be we would buy into it, but also we would improve the property to get an Airbnb ready so we can market it and get higher returns than he would as a regular tenant. So that's been unlocking some opportunities there. I mentioned the cost segregation report earlier because I have a lot of friends and family now that are like, I want to buy, I need some tax write-offs. Like, would you be open to partnering and something like that? So it's been cool to start with arbitrage, build that brand, buy one property a year, show the concept, show that it's working. and now it's leading to hopefully more GPLP type of structure property investments. But if not, we have friends that want to buy properties that will end up managing the property or designing the property or cleaning the property. So it's been cool to show the concept and then be able to scale the different parts of the business through that model as well.
Yeah, that's incredible. So now you've got almost another business, is it? Where you've got these people who are interested in this strategy.
Yep.
And so are you just helping friends and family for now, or are you actually building this out as well?
Yeah, it's a good question. So right now we're definitely going to keep it smaller. The reason for it is not like it's not another business, but essentially it is, right? Where you're managing different departments at a bigger scale, and then those departments are managing their own team to get a rehab done or get painting done or get some outdoor amenities done. Like now the level of leadership has to really escalate at a fast level, or it's, once again, we're going to get into the same bottleneck as we were in the past of like our team can't keep up with this growth.
Yeah.
So I'm slowly going to transition to this. And these are the conversations we're having. It's like, what kind of systems do we need now to make sure this person's clear on what their people are supposed to do, and this person's clear on what their team is supposed to do. So
yeah.
But what's been cool is same thing. The last 5 years, our team has been growing a ton. But same thing. It's going to require just more leadership skills at this point.
Yeah. And so, okay, I now have a question for you. How are you then investing in yourself to attain that leadership, to be able to ensure that, you're raising other leaders up? How are you investing in yourself in terms of leadership?
Another great question. So,
and to ask this at what time? Almost 10 p.m. at night.
No, I love this. This is actually one of my favorite things to talk about. So Cutco, when I started, that was like that opened the door to me for personal growth. That was the first time I heard about Tony Robbins. That was the first time I heard about Joe Dispenza, meditation, priming, like getting yourself in the right state. So I've been practicing and learning for the last 10, 15 years at this point. Going to different seminars, whether it's Tony Robbins, Joe Dispenza, whether it's conferences, whether it's networking events, whether it's retreats. I currently have a life coach. So Michael Chu, shout out to you.
Yeah.
I've been working with him.
Sorry?
Michael Chu.
Michael Chu.
He's based out of Austin right now. I've been working with him for 5 years.
Wow.
He is, I'd say, like my second dad in terms of like what he's done in terms of like my personal growth, from relationships to business to friend issues to family to...
He's like the Robert Kiyosaki's rich dad by the sound of it, which traits.
Yeah, very, very similar.
Yeah.
I went sober for a year back in 2020 to 2021, and he was a big part of that because he's been sober for the last 5 years and saw how much that did for him.
Wow.
Right now, the book that I'm constantly reading for the last 6 months has been The 12-Week Year. I've realized that over the last 10 years, I've learned so much that it wasn't really about learning more. It was just about executing more on a more regular basis. So that's been the biggest impact for me in the last 6 months, because I'm executing at a really high level. So is my business partner, and so is my other partner for the rental side, but he's more on the cleaning side. So same thing. We're just holding each other accountable to a very high standard on a weekly basis. And now our team's finally getting on it. So the execution across the board has increased dramatically. I go to 2 retreats a year, so we just got back from Costa Rica a couple months ago. Those retreats are
Not a bad place to go for a retreat.
not a bad spot, yeah. So each of the retreats that my coach runs is basically broken down into health, wealth, and happiness.
Yeah.
So the first day was like childhood healing, some trauma work, and then we got into real estate investing, some crypto, some whole life policy stuff, and then we'll do like a fitness day or something fun for everyone to connect.
Nice.
But I'll typically go to two of those a year. I've done other.
And that's with Josh and like, well, the team at the top running things. Do you guys do that together?
So as of right now, it's been me. Josh is actually right now looking for a life coach to work with, which I'm excited for him to dive into that.
Nice. Yeah.
And then what I first see in the future for our team is maybe we go to Kawa at the new property and have like our mini retreat. I think we're at a point now where, just like you mentioned, it's going to require a little bit more personal growth across the board.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Looking forward to that.
It has to filter down, doesn't it?
It has to, 100%.
Yeah. I love that. Thanks for sharing that. Really appreciate it. Especially because you said you love talking about this stuff. It's so important, isn't it? Like you investing in yourself and continuing to grow and expand your knowledge and just grow within yourself, because there's just some people are a little bit stagnant, or they get to a place where they're just not moving, or they're just stuck in this vicious cycle of, that life it just happens to so many people.
Or even on the flip side, like the people that are so successful, but they've put the personal growth side to the side, and then their relationships are falling apart. Addiction is through the roof. They're lost. They're not happy. So, and I'd say I've been a part of all of that.
Deteriorating and all the rest of it. Yeah.
Yeah. And I've been a part of all of it, right? That's why I went sober for a year, because at one point I had all this money saved, but I was just spending it or having way too much fun, or, going out way too often, where it's just like helped me figure out that there's a reason why I'm overcompensating through these different things. And I should slow down and look more internally, because there's a reason why that overcompensation is happening. And I need to figure that out now, because if I don't, who knows what my life would look like if I'm married and we get in an argument, or our kid, something happens. Like, what's going to happen if I can't handle that stress then, So really important.
Yeah. That's great. You're dealing with that now before making that commitment. When you marry someone, it takes, what is it? You often hear it's two half, like coming together and making a whole. I don't believe that. It's meant to be two whole people coming together and forming a union, a partnership, to then elevate and continue to drive and push each other forward. So
exactly.
Not the other one dragging the other one behind. And so that's brilliant. I love that. And okay, so in terms of, I like that you're thinking about your team, and you guys are going to do some kind of retreat as well. What's sort of the future looking like now for the Dream Rentals, and what are the goals?
Yeah, I was thinking about this today on my drive. So with this cost segregation study, I do believe that short-term rentals are one of the highest producing asset classes that you can buy right now, especially with the cash flow compared to like a multifamily or a commercial space. So I'm a big believer in that, and I believe helping people find a property that's going to give them a great return, is designed well, that they love, that they want to have for the next 5, 10, 15 years, is going to be a focus. My passion project, or my vision long term, is to build retreat centers or getaway off the grid type of tiny home communities, where someone could go there for a wedding, a retreat, somewhere where they can be off the grid, disconnect to connect with each other.
Wow.
I really want to start building that and finding land next year and growing that brand. that really excites me. My parents have always wanted a restaurant, so I even thought of, can we have this retreat center wedding venue and have like a restaurant
Mm,
connected to it that my family could,
yeah,
serve them
sounds
food
great.
or give them that hospitality that the guests would want. But also my mom loves to talk. She loves to connect. She loves meeting these people. So that's like my next thing. I would love to start like a boutique hotel off the grid connecting facility essentially.
Wow. Wow. And it sounds like you've got really good relationship with your parents as well. You've
Yep.
keeping them in mind for what it is that your future plans are. And that sounds incredible. I'm here for it. I can't wait to see how that develops and your passion project. Like where does that come from? Is it something you've been thinking of doing for a while or like it's just come
Yeah.
over
So
time?
you got some good questions today, stuff.
Yeah.
Um, so where did it come from? So first of all, my relationship with my mom's always been great. With my dad, it hasn't.
Hmm.
And I've made it a point that it's not everything that I've felt that my dad or anyone in my family has done to me wasn't to hurt me. They just did the best that they could with the experience and the resources they had. And forgiveness isn't necessarily something that I need from someone. I need to give it to people because I need it more than they need it from me. So let's start with that. Number two, where did this vision come from? I really, life before COVID was awesome, and life after COVID has been great for me because I'm aware and I pay attention to these things. However, the last couple years, part of the reason why I moved on from my previous job was I saw firsthand of how distracted and how disconnected these generations just kept getting. Um, so many kids die every day from overdose or abuse or just depression. These things are at a high level, higher than ever,
Yeah.
and people aren't present. And then the places that I felt the most present and connected to people have been these beautiful off the grid types of retreat centers or places where there was not internet and there was no technology. It was just very organic and very freeing.
Yeah.
And I think the world needs more of that nowadays
Yeah.
because we're so distracted by the things that don't matter. We got to come back to what truly matters to
Yeah.
humans.
Yeah. And that being connection that has been lost, you know, over the years with technology and the distraction of, all of that. I love that. Wow. That is so powerful. And I didn't really know what to say after that. I could feel myself just welling up with emotions because I'm like, this is incredible what you're planning to build. Has that kind of already begun or is still working towards it?
So it's been actually pretty cool.
I
We're
mean,
still working on it.
practically. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
still working on it in terms of finding land ourselves in the areas we
Yeah.
want. However, through like just being really intentional over the last 6 months to a year with these goals and visions and connecting with the right people, my first boss at Cutco, his partner actually owns 160 acres in Kentucky
Oh,
and
wow.
is so busy with his main job where he doesn't know what to do with it. So
Oh
we're in
my
talks of
God.
potentially talking and doing that, which has been kind of sweet how it's just coming together,
Wow. The power of networking and just people in your sphere. That's that's wild. All this land and he doesn't know what to do with it, but here you are with this incredible idea.
Exactly.
So,
Like 160 acres just sitting there.
yes. Wow. So
So
that's potentially or like this is it. Like this is
essentially,
this
we
is
we
pretty
still
much
have to. We've had two calls. But he wants me to come out there, see the land, show him like the vision, the plans, like in person, actually
Yeah.
create something more together. It's just been a
Yeah.
couple calls, but I'm pretty confident with the space and what I've seen. It's water runs through it like massive trees. Like it's beautiful from what I've seen. So I'm excited to see it and actually have a
Mm,
conversation in person with them about it. But I'm
mm.
pretty confident it'll happen at this point.
Yeah. I mean, that sounds, yeah. I'm like, oh, I want to see this. I'm like, where, how can you keep us, updated on how all this is going in this particular passion project of yours?
Yep,
That's
I will.
yeah.
I'll make sure to let you guys know.
Wow. Well, I don't really know where to go from here except to say, uh, wow, thank you so much for just sharing everything, like pretty much everything, like your story, your background, almost like your belief system, and so much wisdom and like shared and imparted, and it's definitely inspiring. The way that you how like the journey you've been on, and then the things that you've learned along the way, and how you've applied that to your life, and yeah, and just how you apply it to business as well. It's really incredible. It's been really great to talk to you more, and some of the stuff we talked about we didn't even discuss previously, but it's just amazing how we've kind of just gone off on this, these not tangents, but like more in-depth conversation that I know people are going to be listening to, and just in just inspired, I guess. So I just want to say thank you. There's not really anything else unless there's, final any tips or things that you want to, give out there for anyone who's thinking about starting Airbnb, either as a side hustle or maybe they just want to go all out and start their own business. Is there anything you want to maybe share?
Couple tips, I would say if it's Airbnb, great, do it. If it's buying a business, do it. I mean, since this is an Airbnb podcast, find a market or a couple markets that you like to visit or you like to
Mm,
go to, or maybe it's somewhere you live.
mm,
Look at the top 10% of that market. Can you compete in that top 10%? Can you offer what they have but better? Um, it's your first one's going to be your baby. Take care of it. Do the best you can. If you don't make a ton of cash, at least you're going to learn a lot.
mm,
Um, Number two, I would say everything that you do is a part of your brand. So it's not your brand of Airbnb. It's who's Stephanie Murphy, who's she married to, who's she about, what's her family like. That everything is your brand. So it's not just the business that you're building, but it's the person people know you as
yeah.
and how you do things. I think when I mentioned, oh, people noticed our brand, they just saw Josh and I as the experts in the field or in the city, and that's brought us a ton of business. Of course, people are allowed.
It's okay.
And I'd say the last thing is you never know until you try. Like, just pull the trigger. It might not be a slam dunk at the start, but it'll bring you more deals. It'll give you more experience. You'll learn how to work through people, if you want to get in the business, you never built a piece of furniture, like great, you'll learn that here, right?
Yeah.
You'll learn how to paint, you'll learn how to do a couple updates to your property for the future, like, and it's not a big investment, and that I think that's one of the biggest things that pulled us into it. You have $10,000-$20,000. The worst thing that happens, in my opinion, if you go into this business is you break even. But
Mm,
chances are, if you're part of a good group like this and you have 20 calls a week to hop on and ask questions, like, there's no way you're going to fail if you have the support. I think a lot of people try to do things by themselves or without knowledge or feedback. It's 2025. You have all this information, ChatGPT, Google, resources, coaches. If you're going to fail, like, that just means you're not being resourceful. So
yeah.
you'll figure it out. Just pull the trigger and have fun along the process. I mean, if you're not having fun, it's not worth doing it.
You could write a book, Sebastian. I reckon you could. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, after your passion project, I think that's what you need to be working on next. That's brilliant.
I appreciate it. Thanks,
Yeah,
Steph.
no, I mean it. Well, thank you again. I think that was you couldn't have kind of brought this to a close any better than that, even with the ping pong balls and all the rest of it. I'm sure I was able to hear you loud and clear, and I'm sure everyone else has been able to as well. So thanks again. And if you are tuning in for the first time, welcome to this podcast, this show, Behind the BNB. We release weekly episodes, and they're all like this, where we interview real hosts, real business owners with real stories. And yeah, I just hope you've really enjoyed this episode. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Sebastian, thank you so much once again.
All right. See you, everybody.